Hello, guys. Well, we got a special episode going on today. If you haven't told by the title, yeah, I'm gonna do sets for Victreebel. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you guys want to see more sets for other Pokemon, just let me know. Now, let's just go on to our first set. We are gonna talk about Zee Special. So, the concept of Zee Special is using either Grasium Z and in other cases Pozonium Z. We have our standard moves, which will be Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Strength Sap, and Sleep Powder. Or you can swap Sleep Powder with other options. We're running Modest Nature, and we're running Max Special Attack and Max Speed. This set is, I think, the most viable set that you can run. It hits hard when it needs to. It can do a quick sweep if it wants to, and yeah, it's just a good switch in. You can play around with your teams, and you can actually fit this in almost anything that has weaknesses to fairies and fighting types. So yeah, it's a good special attacker. And yeah, so let's just go on to all those other options. So, sleep powder being really good, I think is the best option. But if you don't want to have sleep powder, something like because you're afraid of sap sippers or vital spirit or just other grass types like Lilligant and Rosalia, you could switch. You could switch the move for something else. And on this side, we got those moves. So, I personally like using Encore. It breaks through stall teams. Um, it also allows you to repetitively make your opponent attack you with fighting attacks, and you can just keep strength sapping away them, and you can go back to full HP until they realize that they have to switch out. Other moves that you could run are Toxic, Hidden Power, Fighting, and Giga Drain if you want to have more coverage with stab attacks. Um, Running Leaf Storm is a little risky, and if you do want to have another grass attack, you could run Giga Drain. But I leave that as the last option. I think Hidden Power Fighting is good, hitting Aggron, hitting a loading Sand Slash. It's just relatively good to have Hidden Power Fighting over Giga Drain. But yeah, my two best options here are, well, at least my recommended options would be Encore and Hidden Power Fighting. And if you really want to, you could Pozonium Z instead of Grasium Z. Even though Grasium Z is far the superior option, just because Zee Leaf Storm is just hits like a truck. So yeah. Now let's go on to our second set. We got the Zee Physical. So yeah, very similar to the Zee Special, but this is on the physical side of things, and is a little bit not as good as the Zee Special in my opinion. At least in the place that the meta is in right now. But it's still a viable set. So yeah, we got Gralium Z. We are running Power Whip, Poison Jabs as our stab moves, and Strength Sap. And then again, we're running Sleep Powder, or you can swap out the Sleep Powder with other options. We're running Adamant Nature with Max Attack and Max Speed. Not much that I can go on about this. It's basically the same thing as the Zee Special, just on the physical side of things. This is a little better if you're trying to hit Lilligant or other things that are not as bulky on the physical side. Um, overall is I think is good. It's still a viable set. But yeah, let's go on to the other options. You can replace Sleep Powder with Encore. Again, Toxic, Knockoff, or Leaf Storm. If you opt to use Leaf Storm, then I recommend changing the EVs to having max special attack, 4 points invested in special attack and max speed with a naughty nature. This will decrease your special bulk in exchange for giving you more physical attack. That way you're not minimizing how much damage you actually do on your special side once you're actually using Leaf Storm. And running the mix set can actually be helpful to you. Knockoff is still very good utility considering how you're using Victreebel as a pivot. Not a pivot, but more like a switch in with Strength Sap. And you force switches, so knockoff, just taking away an item from an opponent is really good. Alright, let's go on to our third set. We got the Choice Band set. For the Choice Band set, we are running, obviously, Choice Band as the primary item. And we are running a similar set as the Zee Physical. We're running the standard Power Whip and Poison Jab. And we have to run Sucker Punch just so we can have some sort of priority. Since we do have Choice Band, we can quickly get rid of somebody who's low in HP, who's about to sweep you, something like a Caracosta who's about to die, anything like that. And the fourth move is up to your choice. It's really just a filler move. All you need is those three moves: Power Whip, Poison Jab, and Sucker Punch. However, you could run anything else, shown on the other side. But yeah, we are running max attack, max speed, and adamant nature. So yeah, for the other options, we can use knockoff. We can use Leech Life, which actually is a pretty okay option, given the fact that it gives you longevity. And it lets you stay longer in the field. And it's also a way of hitting Mesprit and Lilligant and anything like that, really. You can also run Facade. I think Facade is a good option, considering that this is a grass type, which is a water resist. I would say that Scald, it's something to be feared of, and if your entire team Victreebel happens to be the only water resistance, then I recommend putting Facade on the 4th slot just in case you get burnt. That way you still have a way of hitting Pokemon, somehow hard with the Choice Band. And you can run Toxic. Toxic is an alright choice. And yeah, if you do opt to have more speed, then you can run Jolly Nature instead of Adamant. I think Adamant is a lot better. The speed tier that Jolly reaches is not that much of in demand. The only real thing that I would say is that Jolly has over Adamant is the fact that you will outspeed Adamant Stoutland. Anyhow, let's go on to our 4th set. We have Sunny Day. So, with Sunny Day, we are running Life Orb. And we actually gonna abuse the ability that we've been using all this time. The 4 standard moves will be Solar Beam. Under the Sun, the move has no recharge, so you can just nuke things with Solar Beam. We have Sludge Bomb, Weather Ball, which under the Sun becomes a fire move that is also sun boosted by the sun. So it's essentially a 150 base power fire attack, and it's really strong. And for the last move is Sunny Day, or if you have a Sunny Day team, then you can potentially swap out Sunny Day for something else, something that's much better. That way you can make this a dedicated sweeper rather than a self-setter. Yeah, so yeah, we run Modest, and we are running Special Attack and Max Speed. Now, let's say if you are running something like a Sunny Day team, then I would swap out Sunny Day for one of the other options that we got. So, I think Growth is way too good to pass by if you have a Sunny Day team. Growth is basically a Sword Stance and a Nasty Plot at the same time under the sun, and it just skyrockets your sweeping potential. Considering that you're running Solar Beam, Weather Ball, and Sludge Bomb, that's really good coverage. And the fact that you're running Life Orb with a +2 is bound to just sweep an entire thing. You can also run Sucker Punch as a way to surprise your opponent, especially if they're changing your weather with hail. If you are gonna run the Sucker Punch variant, then I recommend you having 4 points on attack, max special attack, max speed with Rash Nature. And lastly, if you want to have just 4 attacking moves with different typing, then I recommend using Hidden Power Fighting just because it hits Alone Sand Slash and Aggron. Sunny Day is probably one of the scariest sets that you can come across. But if you have ways of dealing with weather, then this set starts becoming less and less scary. So yeah, let's go on to our 5th set. We're gonna be talking about Life Orb Sword Stance. So yeah, um, we are running Life Orb with Sword Dance, Power Whip, Poison Jab, and Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch can be swapped out with other options. We are running Adamant, Max Attack, Max Speed. And the basis of this set is that you Sword Dance up and you have essentially 3 attacks that are really strong with priority in Sucker Punch. However, if you don't feel the need of having that priority, here are other options. So you can go ahead and use Knockoff, or you could replace it with Leaf Blade if you don't want to miss the Power Whip. You can replace it with Leech Life if you want some longevity, considering that you're killing yourself with Life Orb. Or you can run the infamous Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder being a really good way of letting yourself set up. You can Sleep Powder something and then Source Dance afterwards. So all of these are really good options. You can also run Jolly Nature, considering that you are Source Dance and Life Orb. You still have a lot of firepower behind it, and if you really want to run outspeed an Adamant Stoutland, then you can go for that. Now let's go on with our last viable set. We got the Zee Sweeper, and this is a very unique set. It doesn't have any other variations. This is the set that you have to run. It is Chlorophyll, Grazium Z, with Source Dance, Power Whip, Poison Jab, and Sleep Powder. You have to run a Jolly Nature with max attack, max speed. The idea of this set is that you go ahead and set up your opponent to be weak to both the combination of both Power Whip and Poison Jab. Essentially, you would use Grazium Z to activate a Zee Sleep Powder, in which sleeps your opponent, and on top of that, it increases your speed by one stat. Essentially, that gives you 393 speed, which is enough to outspeed most of the meta. Nothing. The only thing that you have to be scared of is anything that's Scarf, that's faster than your base speed. So yeah, you will go ahead and sleep powder something, and you will source dance, and you can just sweep the entire team. Now that you have +1 speed and +2 attack. This also gives you the option to source dance and then Z power whip, which will be a very devastating Bloom Doom. Yep, that's the basis of the set. Is really strong. It's actually scary in theory. However, with my playtesting, you need to build a team that really softens the checks to this guy. I recommend running rocks, and if you could, also spikes. Things that you need to bait are things like Skuntank, and you need to Pursuit Trap, Mesprit, Scarf Mesprit. But yeah, these were the 6 Bible sets I can give you from Victreebel, but I do have 2 more sets in store. These are what I call fun sets, or just for the lulz sets. So we got Bulky Sap. What is Bulky Sap? Alright, so Bulky Sap is essentially you're running either Rocky Helmet or Black Sludge. Mainly, in my opinion, you should be using Rocky Helmet just for the chip. But yeah, we are running Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Strength Sap, and Encore. Max HP, 176 speed, and 84 defense with a timid nature. This speed tier allows you to outrun things like Abomasnow if you happen to encounter it. It's bulky enough to take on all fighting attacks and fairy attacks. And normally this Pokemon, the purpose of this Pokemon is to bait fighting types like Hitmonchan, Girder, Poliwrath, and from time to time Primeape. Essentially, what would happen is, let's say you have something like a loading Persian, and your opponent has a Hitmonchan, and they're gonna go for a Drain Punch. You switch this Pokemon in, and they will take Rocky Helmet Chip, and the next turn you will either Strength Sap or Encore, whether you're predicting them to switch out or not. Some Hitmonchans do run Ice Punch, so they want to stay in and attack you. So I recommend always Strength Sap when you see a Hitmonchan, especially if they haven't revealed if they have an Ice Punch or not, just to play safe. This Pokemon's purpose is just to basically be a fighting check. Although there are better options out there, this is if you want to add some sort of unpredictability factor to your team. What could you possibly replace for Encore if you don't like Encore? You could go ahead and use Sleep Powder, as is very standard to use. Since this is a bulky check to fighting types, they will be switching out, so getting a Sleep Powder and having a free turn to switch in or attacking is very optimal. You can also predict them to go ahead and switch out, and you can toxic them, essentially crippling something like Oricorio or yeah, anything of the nature that would normally counter you, except for a Loading Sandslash. You can also run knockoff since this Pokemon is more of a support rather than a sweeper or anything like that. Running knockoff will be very beneficial to you, especially if you want to get rid of items as fast as possible. And lastly, you could run acid spray. Um, since you are forcing switches, you could soften up your opponent up with acid spray, and then you can do your own switch. Other options would be black sludge. Is actually black sludge would technically, in theory, be the better option than rocky helmet, giving you more longevity and letting you knock off or sleep powder or acid spray more things. But yeah, it's up to you. You can build how you like. But this is just to give you an idea that this is a possibility of having a bulky um, switch in with Victreebel and actually gain momentum from them switching out. So yeah, let's go on to our last set. It's actually SubBelch. Now what SubBelch is, we're actually going to take advantage of the gluttony ability that the Victreebel has. And we're going to use Bataya Berry, which once you consume it, it will give you +1 special attack. So yeah, we are running Substitute and Belch, which is the basis of the build. You can run either Energy Ball or Giga Drain, depending on your set and your item. But optimal choice would be Energy Ball, so you can actually sweep better. And then you will run Hidden Power Fighting, so you can have good coverage. However, if you do choose to have other moves, you can go ahead and use something else other than Hidden Power Fighting if you want other coverage. We're running max special attack and max speed with 4 points of HP. It's very important that you add those 4 points in HP, because that way you can just use 2 substitutes to get yourself in reach of gluttony. And you must run a timid nature. Just because of the nature of the build, you want to be subbing as fast as you can. Now, let's go on with other moves and other options. So, let's say if you want to replace Hidden Power Fighting with Toxic, I highly recommend you that you actually make the SubBelch set into a subtoxic set. Replacing Pitaya Berry with Agua Berry. Agua Berry basically gives you 50, it restores 50% of your HP. And with Gluttony, that means that once you reach your 50%, you gain the other 50 and you're back to full. And this essentially will help you a lot with toxic stalling and killing your opponent very slowly. Now, if you're not gonna run toxic, then I would say stick to Pitaya Berry. You can replace Hidden Power Fighting with Hidden Power Fire. It's a good way of attacking grass types, like other Victreebels and Roselia. Or you can run Hidden Power Rock, which is a good way to actually get rid of things like Scyther and Oricorios. Obviously we have Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder just being a really good 4th move. It just gives you more momentum. It gives you more chances of attacking your opponent. And yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think that Victreebel has deserved this much attention. It hasn't gotten too much in the past year, and now that it has some light on the PU scene. I just hope that this was useful to you guys and that you will actually, you know, go ahead and use any of these sets, especially the fun ones. Good way to flex. You know what I'm saying. But anyhow, enough babbling. Uh, have yourself a good day, and yeah, enjoy playing with Victreebel. Let me know what you guys want for the next video. If you guys have any sets of your own, go ahead and post it in the comment section. I'll check it out. See you guys next time. Bye bye.